Hello, hello, hola, hola, amigos, amigas. Welcome to Lima, Peru. Welcome to this beautiful city, my home. Also, the city that is nowadays the capital of Peru, the capital of this beautiful country. Today we're going to learn about another piece of history, of Peruvian history. This tour is going to be centered in the history and the evolution of the markets of Lima. We're going to learn about the markets of the city and the street vendors and the activity that was developed back in the colonial times around, let's say, the market, which products were sold, how we call the people, the different vendors we had back then in that time. So I hope today's tour will be very insightful and also will help you to understand a little bit better the history of the historic center of Lima, the colonial history of Lima, and also who we are nowadays. Right? So my name is Vanessa Vasquez. I am your Lima City tour guide. And with me, you learn about the history of Peru, the history of Lima. I show you also how to cook Peruvian food. I show you about, let's say, the untold history. And, well, in this occasion, we're going to walk together the streets of Lima. We are located in the main square of the city. And, well, I will be starting this tour officially in a minute, but first I would like to say hi to all the people joining today. So let me say hi to Aneta, hola, hi Bao, hi Nicola, Berhard, amigo, thanks for coming, muchas gracias. Karen, hola, hola Karen, hello, hello, hi Culture D, hi Eva, thanks for joining, hi Debbie. And as you know, of course, always your questions are welcome, so please share your questions, share your impressions, share your emojis. I am happy to be today with you, to feel you, to make you feel as if you were walking here by my side, the beautiful streets of Lima. So in a moment we will be starting, and just to give you an idea of where I am at the main square of Lima. This is the historic section of Lima, the historic center as we call it, Centro Histórico in Spanish. And the story of today is about the markets of Lima, is about the evolution of the markets of Lima, the mercados. So we're going to be walking through different parts of this section of Lima today. And we have a lot of things to see, by the way. So if you're ready, I am more than ready to start to begin with this adventure of today. So fasten your seatbelts and let's start. So, by the way, as you know, my tours in Lima are about different topics and different things. And if you want to learn more about what I do in Lima since this moment on, for the people that are new to my channel and my tours, I am posting also here a picture with all my contacts, my website, our information, my channel, just in case if you want to save it for later. So, well, you're always welcome virtually and in person to Lima. So we are in this moment at the main square of the city. We call it Plaza Mayor. Plaza Mayor, the main square, the most important one. And the Plaza Mayor, we know from some accounts, colonial accounts from, let's say, conquistadors or people who receive information from conquistadors, that the main square of Lima was a Incan plaza. Also, of course, this is still in debate. There are no really, let's say, clear informations about if this really was an Incan plaza when the Spanish came, but probably it was, because it was not something unusual. It happened also in Cusco, for example. It happened in Mexico. So Francisco Pizarro established this plaza in the year 1535. It was January 18, 1535. And today, you know, we're talking about mercados. We're talking about the markets. So to understand the markets of Lima, the colonial markets of Lima, I have to also give you a little bit of information about how used to be the markets before the Spanish. right? Because we had the conquistadors here in Peru in the 16th century, but before the conquistadors, we had the Inca Empire, and we had also many other societies that existed in different parts of Peru, many different cultures. So what we know about the markets in the pre-Hispanic times? So first of all, the markets were not exactly the same like, for example, nowadays our markets are, because there was no currency in the pre-Hispanic times. Maybe you didn't know this, but we had no currency in Peru until the arrival of the conquistadors. Hi, William. Hello. The conquistadors introduced new, like everything, right? Like new religion, new language, and this new system, no? But in the pre-Hispanic times, instead of the currency, the markets were also run by the system of the trade, trueque in Spanish. So people used to trade. And also another interesting thing is that these markets were known in the pre-Hispanic times as catu. Catu means trade in Quechua. The Quechua is the language of the Incas that still is spoken here in Peru, in different parts of the country. For example, in Cusco. So, when the Spaniards came, they introduced the currency. They introduced, of course, the idea of permanent markets, because in the pre-Hispanic times, we had no permanent markets. The markets existed only in, let's say, important occasions. Let me share a picture I have over here that I think will be very, very helpful to understand the idea of the markets. So the markets in the pre-Hispanic times, these catus, used to exist only during religious festivities, and were places that were created, like I say, like in plazas, in religious plazas, that were, not permanently there. Also, these markets appear as zones for trading, and trading for products that were not locally, raised, like, for example, coca leaf, could be cotton, and many of these catus were silent. And you know why? Because many people back in the pre-Hispanic times use different native languages, and they didn't have a frank language. Like Quechua was sort of like a frank language, a language that was used for communicating during the times of the Inca period, the Inca Empire. But these Catu markets were sort of like silent, because people couldn't really understand all of the languages. So what they used was like they mimic, like for example, they say like this and like 3 or 4. So they use like basic words and just to make understand the other person, about the products and the quantities. So that's the way how the catus used to be back then. They were silent markets. So now I am showing you an image of the main square of Lima, but long time ago. Look at the year of this painting, 1680. So this is the main square of Lima in 1680, and you can see something extraordinary. You can see main square of Lima as busy as today, but hundreds of years ago. So we haven't changed really much in time. But there are some things that I have to point out about the main square that, of course, have changed in time. Of course, the main square is always busy, active, a place of exchange, communication, a place of culture. But back in the colonial times, the main square was the first market of Lima. So the first market of the city was there in the main square. And you can see in this painting from 1680 how the stalls, these stands, or street vendors used to sell different types of products in the square. Of course, this is not the trade system. This is the regular system where you could pay for the products with money, with the pesos of those days. But the first market of Lima, you know how it was called? Very funny. The name of the first market was the market of El Gato. The El Gato. So gato in Spanish means cat. But that was not the reason of the name. It was a mispronunciation of the Quechua word catu. So you already know what catu means, right? Which is trade. So this was the market of El Gato. And notice also another very curious thing. We have the Cathedral of Lima right there, the same cathedral you see in the square still nowadays. And there's a really interesting tradition that says that in the colonial times, on Sunday, the Mass was pronounced from the balcony of the cathedral. In that way, the people that were working in the market wouldn't miss the Mass, the Sunday Mass, right? But they will still be able to work at the market. So you can see the different types of people here, the different ethnicities. Lima is a multicultural, multi-ethnic city, and we have people from different parts. We have Afro-descendants, we have indigenous, we have Spanish, we have mestizo, mixed blood. So now we're going to continue walking, and we're going to learn a little bit more about this market, the market of El Gato, or Catu, right? Remember also that Lima back then used to be very, very small, and we used to have, like not of the problems that nowadays we have related with the traffic, for example. I want to share with you some really interesting pictures also that will be coming just in a moment. Just let me also post here another picture. So the picture that I'm sharing there, hola Marilu, hello, thanks for coming, my dear. Thanks for coming. So you can see in this picture, the plaza, the main square, you can see a hill. Can you see the hill, my friends? Can you see the mountain in the picture, in the painting that I share? So look at this. Can you recognize the hill in, the landscape I'm sharing with you? Of course, I think so, right? It's exactly the same mountain. And that means that we have also the location, the exact same location. The painting that I just shared is a painting that is estimated like being in the beginnings of the 17th century. And there you see the palace of the Viceroy. And oh, Marilu, gracias. And you can see also these sort of like stalls that are at the entrance of this palace of the Viceroy. Of course, nowadays we don't have it because we have the house of the President of Peru. It looks very French. But those stalls that used to be there used to be stores. So we used to have lots of people vending products around the main square. And also another set of them over there. Nowadays we have the City Hall of Lima and a club. This is the Union Club, a private club. And also the street we have over here, which nowadays has lots of different stores like shoe stores and clothing stores and restaurants, used to be called the Calle de los Botoneros. Who can tell me what botonero means? We're going to test your Spanish level 1, 2, 3. So this was the Calle de los Botoneros. So this street was specialized in only one type of, offering one type of product. So don't worry, if you don't know the name botonero, I will let you know what it means. Botonero was the person who created buttons and sold buttons. Also, some people used to produce the buttons here locally and sold the buttons. So this was the street of the botoneros, right? So we're going to continue walking, and we have here the beautiful Cathedral of Lima. Remember that on Sundays, back in the colonial days, the Mass was said here in the, let's say, at the atrium of the church. So in that way, everybody was able to join this Mass service because Sundays especially were very busy, very, very active. So people couldn't lose, the clientele just because they needed to go to the church. So that was a service the church did to the people of Lima in this market. So the stalls that were around the main square, the cajones. Cajon means like drawer or box. So these stalls that were around existed until the 19th century. So we had a lot of really like economical like movement in this section of Lima, and Lima was always very sort of like a very active and not always very clean. Downtown Lima and the rest of the city of Lima had lots of problems related with sanitation. So let me share with you. I have a picture that is really. Let me share with you this one here, for example. So one will nowadays expect that the markets will be clean places, right, where everything is impeccable, you know, but back in the old days, it was not like that. So I am moving in direction to where the painting that I'm sharing here in the comment section was made. So there you can see the Cathedral of Lima. You can notice that. Hello, Virginia. Hello, my amigos that are just joining the event. I hope you are having a fun time. We are walking in the main square of Lima. We are live in Lima, Peru. And look at this. Well, I think I have to go a little bit backwards to give you the full length, let's say the full view of from the painting and nowadays. But can you see the vultures? Can you see the black vultures, amigos, that are in the middle of the street? And also, maybe you can see these open sewers that are running. Yes, Marilu, that is really dirty, to be very honest. I don't think the smell of Lima back in the old days was like roses and Chanel No. 5, but you know, the Limanians were used to that smell. The people of those old days were used to the smell. But of course, the cities were very dirty and were focus of infections, right? So this is how the market also looked like. Like it was a market that was covered with black vultures, which still exist nowadays. Hello, Dee. You can see the black vultures are the exact same birds. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Yes, my dear. This is the Cathedral of Lima, by the way, Debbie, and the Archbishop Palace over here. These both are museums. They are museums, and when you will come to Lima, I hope you will, first of all, let me know when you are visiting Lima in person. I will take you all to see these beautiful museums. The cathedral has something really special because it is the place where the tomb of Conquistador Pizarro is located. So we have here the... Gracias, Marilu. Thank you. We are trying to do our very best to make, to keep like the architecture here in good shape. Also, I would like to show you something. We are all like today talking about food, markets, you know, like products, street vendors, right? So look at the name of this street, Calle de Pescadería. This is the first block of Caravalla Avenue in downtown Lima. But in the old days, the city, because it used to be so small, there were few inhabitants in Lima. Each street had a different name. Now we use this let's say idea of avenues, right? So we have the block 1 of Avenue, I don't know, Vasquez, right? But in the old days, because there were so few streets, each street had its own name. So Calle de Pescadería. Who can tell me what Calle de Pescadería is? We're going to see the Calle de Pescadería, right? So in the old days, every street was specialized like in one type of product. There was just one type of product in each street in order to create certain order, right? Of course, especially on the weekends, the main square was the main market. But later, when the years pass, right, there were more people coming to Lima, more business, of course, and it was necessary to give some order to some products. Okay, so let's see the comments. JV, fish market. Muy bien. Excellent, William. Fish in the street. Yes, exactly. Fish in the street. Like even more close will be this name, William. So Calle de Pescadería. So it is the street, calle, the street of the, you know, like the people who sell fishes, the ones who fish. And who were the people who fish back in the colonial days? The fishermen were the indigenous. Indigenous people were known for being the ones who fish. Also, the indigenous were the ones who made ice cream back in the old days. You know why? Because the indigenous, many of them didn't live in Lima. They live in the mountains. And for ice cream, you need ice, right? So they brought ice from the mountains, and here they prepare ice cream. Milk also. They were very into the milk business. And to bring their products here into Lima, the street vendors in particular, they needed to pay a tax to get inside the city. So I have a question from Marilu. Thanks, Marilu. I know a little Spanish, but not the streets. Yes, Marilu, we're going to practice. No worries. Please don't feel, let's say, ashamed for, let's say that not knowing something. We are here all to learn. And I hope that at the, let's say, in maybe, some few more months, you're going to feel more confident with the Spanish, because even some Spanish classes are coming soon. So just to practice Spanish, okay, my dears? So, yes, Marilu, ice cream was produced in the colonial times by the indigenous of Lima. So people had to pay taxes to come into Lima to sell products. And you know something? Let me show you also. There's another image I want to share. Yes, this image is the one. So you can see the city of Lima back in the colonial times, the period between the years 1687 and 1872, right? Those were the years, almost 200 years, in which the city of Lima was walled. Lima was walled. And you know why? Initially was a protection for the city, was to protect the city against pirates or privateers or indigenous revolutions or maybe attacks of any kind. But later, it was a good system to check on the products that were coming in, right? And to tax the people who were bringing products. So the picture that I just shared in the comment section, if you don't have it activated, you have to activate it to see the images I'm sharing. So in the picture there, you can see the city of Lima walled, 13 kilometers of wall, and we had 9 gates into Lima. And those 9 gates were to control the access into the city. So we are coming to the end of the Calle Pescadería. So you can see again, Calle Pescadería. Here is where the fish was sold. And this is because behind me in the colonial times, there used to be an access to the river. We had also a river that used to be very clean. Now it's not really that clean. Rimac River. And Rimac River used to have shrimp, for example. Used to have fish. Oh, it was a really like a wonderful river. And the fishermen used to also come from down up to here and sell in this section their products. And here you can see a tapada limeña, the veiled woman of Lima, the veiled women of Lima. Tapar means to cover in Spanish. So the tapada limeña were ladies who in the colonial times acquired this fashion of covering their faces and only exposing one eye when they were outside their homes in the streets of Lima. So soon, my friends, by the way, I will be running a tour about the history of female fashion in Peru over the time. So if you would like to join that tour and learn more, these events are for free. Just tip support it. If you have the chance to support with a tip, if not, that's all right. You can come. And soon we're going to be learning together about the evolution of the female fashion in Peru. So stay tuned, and you can also follow my future events with the button in the upper part that is the follow button. So there is also another important street here. We're talking about products, right? So this street is called calle, Rastro de San Francisco. Oh, gracias, JB. Yes, me too. I'm preparing like all my slides. I hope you enjoy that a lot. So, calle de Rastro de San Francisco. What is a rastro? There are many words of the old Spanish that are no longer in use. Right? There are many, many words that are no longer in use. They have evolved, they have changed, we have replaced them. Some of also the words we use nowadays are a fusion of Quechua and Spanish, right? So rastro was the old word given to the section of the city where, let's say, the butchers were located. So where you could find meat. Right? So this was a rastro. This was a place where all the butchers were located. So nowadays, instead of the butchers, we have lots of stores that offer Peruvian handicrafts, Peruvian products like alpaca clothing, ponchos, jumpers. We have toys. We have different beautiful things that you can take home from here. So this street is famous as the Inca market of downtown Lima. My picture is not clear coming and going, trying to get... Oh, Kathy, I'm so sorry. Maybe it is because also for moments I have a decrease in the internet, and that is because of the thick walls of the buildings. That's why I'm trying to go as fast as I can out from here. So in that way, we can also keep with the very strong internet signal. See? So I'm so sorry, Kathy, if you are having some problems with the pictures. It's really something I didn't plan you will have. So can you give some example of prices in the shops? Yes, of course, Bernhard. Actually, well, I try not to go too close to the products because once I tried to do that and I lost completely the internet because of the thickness of the walls. But for example, like those sweatshirts that you see, oh, this is a jacket, like a Peruvian team jacket, that could be about $20 US, for example, American dollars. The t-shirts will be like $10 US, more or less. It could be, you can ask for a discount, of course. The ponchos, we have different varieties of them and different qualities. Marilu, for example, something I learned as a trip leader, because one thing is when you are a tour guide, one thing is when you are a trip leader. When you are a trip leader, you are traveling everywhere in Peru with your tour group. And you learn something very important. So about alpaca products, ponchos, whatever, you have three qualities. You have alpaca, you have baby alpaca, and you have maybe alpaca. You know, the cheapest, let's say, quality, the cheapest, let's say, product. Sometimes the products, they look really, really good, but you have to have very good eye and know the product very well. Hola, ¿qué tal? And know the product very well to know if it's really like 100% baby alpaca or no. To be very honest, most of the products, I will turn the camera again, are not 100%. Yes, Bernard, 100% baby alpaca or alpaca. And the reason is because if you do it like that, you cannot wash them too. If you wash them, they're going to shrink. So if you mix the product with, like, let's say, synthetic fiber, it would last longer. You can wash it in the laundry service, for example. You can wash it at home, so with no problem. But if it's 100% alpaca, it will cost you a lot of money, and you have to be super careful with this piece. And these jumpers could be like maybe $30 US, maybe less, I think. But you have also some that could be even more delicate. You can spend in a alpaca poncho. I've seen in some of the most expensive stores in Lima, like, for example, maybe $500 US for a baby alpaca poncho, and even more if we're talking about, let's say, vicuña, which is a different product. So maybe soon I will be doing a specialized tour on understanding the differences between those fibers. Would you like to do that? Also, we are going now to go back to the tour of the markets, but no worries, you can ask me as many questions as anything you would like to know. I will go back to those questions in a moment. So here we are in front of another important building related with our story of today. We are in front of the Church of the Franciscan Order. So why is it important to talk about the Franciscan Order? Because the second market of Lima, after the one of the main square, was the one outside the Church of the Franciscans. And I think there are some pictures over here about how the facade and the atrium used to look like, because unfortunately we are in this moment in process of restoration, so some parts cannot be seen, but this is the way how the church looks externally, and also the big plaza that we have here in this section, right? So very, very busy, full of, let's say, of people usually, and also a market. So I think I have another picture that I want to share with you in a moment. Oh, this one here is really cute. So I hope you like this one. Okay, so can you see the image I'm sharing in the comment section, my friends? This is a painting from the 17th century. Yes, JV, gracias. And you can see also the market outside the Church of St. Francis. Gracias, Marilu. So you can see that this is, of course, another market location. So usually the markets in the colonial times were outside churches. Because they were open zones, like more ventilated. Everybody used to go to the church. So, of course, you know, if you didn't go to the church, that was suspicious. And because you had to go to the church, well, passing through a market will, you know, like give you sometimes the chance of taking one thing, two things home, right? So you had better chances to sell products back then if you were close to a place so visited like a church. But also, there's another very interesting thing about this specific market, the market of St. Francis. Because as you know already, you know, we had a market for, let's say, like Tecatu first, no? The first market of Lima, no? At the main square. Then we had the streets where different products were sold. The street of the fishermen, the rastro, the butcher's street. This market is famous for being the slaves market. Yes, outside the Church of St. Francis, we had the zone of exhibit of the slaves who were introduced. That was a business, legal business back in the colonial times, most of the times by Portuguese tradesmen, Portuguese merchants who made lots of profits from the selling of slaves. For example, one of the richest men of Lima who made lots of profits from the selling of these slaves, and also this character is a very important person in my story of the Jewish Lima, the history of the Jewish Lima, the secret Jewish immigration of Lima, which I will be bringing soon back to the to Hego, to our channel, is Manuel Bautista Perez. And Manuel Bautista Perez lived here in this beautiful house, right in front of the Church of the Franciscans. The Franciscans were benefited by Manuel Bautista Perez with lots of money, lots of donation, and he lived as a secret Jew because he was a crypto Jew. He was a Jew in secret, as long as he could, until the Inquisition trapped him. And he was killed in an auto de fe in the year 1639. He was owner of lots of slaves. He had like hundreds of slaves. He made a fortune about, the slave trading. And many of the slaves he sold were sold here in the market of St. Francis. So we're going to continue. Oh yes, of course, JV, the house is really pretty. We have, actually the house hasn't changed much in time. It's amazing. It's really amazing. One of the few examples of colonial houses that still are in really good shape, almost intact. We have also the wooden balconies of Lima, from where people used to stroll let's say, flowers when the, let's say, the processions used to happen, right? And we're going now to continue in this direction because we have a lot of noise over here. So we're going through this section to the next market of Lima. So now I think it would be good to talk about the vendors. I remember we were talking about the different, let's say, types of vendors we had in Lima, and also the fact that there were different products who were like took over by different ethnicities, by different castes, by different ethnic groups. To understand this in detail, we have to, first of all, if you are new to my channel and new to the history of Lima, we have to understand that the conquest of Peru was a moment of meeting, of clashing, of not just two cultures. To be honest, there were three cultures that clashed in that moment. Why? Because when the conquistadors came, they introduced slavery. They introduced African slavery. And of course, it was a forced immigration, the one of the Africans, but with their arrival, new culture, new tradition, new cuisine also arrived into Peru. And of course, we have to talk about the indigenous, right? Because the indigenous were those who were conquered by the Spaniards. So we have not two, but three different groups who are clashing here. And in the way they could, they organized themselves, they were able to coexist, they even intermarried, right? And they produced the beautiful Peruvian culture, or at least the basics of the Peruvian culture. But later, of course, after the independence from Spain, we had also people from all over the world, like Italy, England. We had people from North America, people from France, people from China, from Japan, from Poland. So this is another part of the story of Peru. But the pillar to understand the multiculturality of Peru and Lima is, of course, the colonial period, the period of the conquest. Hola, Jane. Thanks for coming. Gracias, gracias. And by the way, Jane and amigos that are just joining, we are talking about the markets of Lima. This is the history of the evolution of the markets of Lima and the historic markets of Lima. So we have also in the memory, let's say, of the colonial period of Lima, different types of vendors. For example, and by the way, here I will share with you a picture of a very important man from the 19th century who is known as the best watercolor artist of Peru, and he was from Lima, Pancho Fierro. He was an Afro-Peruvian, and he produced hundreds, if not thousands, of watercolors, of postcards that he sold to just for a few cents to travelers who came to Lima back in the old days. In that period, we're talking about the beginnings of the 19th century until the time he passed away, a few decades before the 20th century. And this man, in his portraits, in his postcards, he portrayed how people look back then. So in a moment, I will be sharing with you different images about those men and women, some of them, not all of them, of course, but maybe one day I will be doing a specific tour about Pancho Fierro and the Lima of Pancho Fierro. So we have here another important location for our tour, and I will be doing a little stop here, which is important because just to give you an idea how busy this section of the city is. Look at the many cars, look at the traffic. Lima's downtown section is always very, very busy. So we are going in this moment to across the street, of course, very, very carefully, because we are going to get closer to the third market of Lima, right? This market was located very close to another church, the Church of the Charity.
The Church of the Charity is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And that is because the Church of the Charity used to be where nowadays is the Congress, the Congreso. So let me just make a little stop here. The Charity Church used to be exactly where nowadays is this beautiful building you are seeing from the beginnings of the 20th century, the Congreso. So I will be sharing now a picture I have about the Church of the Charity, Iglesia de la Caridad. And let me just give a quick look. Oh, this is a really nice image. So you can see here in this picture I'm sharing the plaza that nowadays is this beautiful one where the Congress is located. You can see lots of people vending products, a lot of vendors, and you can see a church, the Iglesia de la Caridad, which is there. Nowadays, we have this building, is the Congreso, the Congress of Peru. And also, in this same plaza, we used to have the Inquisition, Inquisición, which is over here, the Museum of the Inquisition. So, we're going to get a little bit closer in that direction just to show you how this building looks nowadays. This is also part of my Jewish Heritage Tour, by the way, which is really beautiful. It's a beautiful tour that I love very much because I have created this tour, piece by piece. And this building you are seeing here is the Museum of the Congress and the Inquisition. And in the picture I just shared also, if you do a click in the last picture, you are going to see the facade of this building. Do it and you will see it in detail on the right-hand side, the same building, the same facade that is this one here. Under suspicious circumstances, the Museum of the Inquisition was closed a few years ago. That was before the pandemic. And we are not sure if it's going to be reopening any soon because of the controversies about what this building exposes. As a museum exposes the truth about the Inquisition, but maybe the church doesn't like it that much. So that's probably why the Inquisition is closed. But today we're talking about the markets. So we have here the market of the Inquisition, right? But back in the old days, it was called the Mercado de la Caridad, because there was a church, the Church of the Caridad. And you can see also the painting in the upper part, very, very busy, very crowded of people from different ethnicities, different backgrounds. There's one sad thing about this plaza nowadays. You can only visit it, for example, if you are coming on a tour excursion that is run by the Congress, because common people like me, for example, like anyone outside, cannot get in without a special permit. But in the old days, it used to be open for everybody, right? It was a market, of course. So now, as we go in direction to the last stop of our event, we're going closer and closer to the nowadays central market of Lima. It's going to be really, really fun seeing the market, how nowadays it is. I would like to, first of all, thank you also for your participation and let you know that, as you know, this is a free tour and it's only, sustained by your kind donation. So if you have the chance of supporting your guide here in Lima, and hey, go also with a tip, just if you have the chance, I would let you know also here activating a button where you can do it at the end of this event if you wish. You can also become a sponsor of my channel with a little donation every month. You can help me to create events, and also in return, I will be giving you a book I am writing. Actually, I am writing 2 books, access to these 2 books that are still in process, but you will be able to get permanent access to the updates to this book. One is about food, is a e-cookbook about Peruvian cuisine, and the other one is a guidebook about Lima, all the history of Lima, all the details. It's going to be best than, Fodor's guidebook or The Lonely Planet. Berhan, muchas gracias, amigo. Thanks for your tip support. So, well, if you have the chance to support, like becoming a sponsor or tipping, that would be wonderful. If not, I completely understand. And please keep coming to my tours. I will be doing lots of different tours about different things. I don't go back to the same events anytime. I try to bring something new always. So now we will continue, and this street is called Ayacucho nowadays. But the street Ayacucho didn't exist back in the colonial times. The reason is because we used to have a convent, a nunnery in this location. Yes, amigos, we used to have a convent. Sorry, I just separated lovers. We used to have a convent. Gracias, Marilu. Thank you, amiga. Muchas gracias. In this exact location. The convent we used to have was dedicated to the nuns of the Concepcion, like the Virgin of the Conception, Virgin Mary of the Conception. And this convent was huge, huge, huge. We know that it was really big in the time of the 19th century, so big that it was quite scandalous, because in the beginnings of the 19th century, there were just 9 nuns living in the convent. Can you imagine that? Gracias, Marilu, you're welcome. So this convent, and here you can see also the bell tower, one of the bell towers of the church. Can you see the bell tower, amigos? It is unfortunately, partially in restoration process, and the other one is gone, because the other one was in the middle of the avenue that is nowadays, the one we just crossed. It's a very important avenue, so it was just taken off, right? So the church just kept one bell tower. But the convent was way too big for the just 9 nuns that we had here, right? So in the 19th century, Lima was already needing a market, like a permanent market, not a market like outside a church, like that people will pick up their things at nighttime and return again in the daytime. It was needing, the city of Lima, a market like a modern one. So that's why the president of those days, Ramon Castilla, a big, let's say, modernizer, no? He made modern the city of Lima and the country in many ways. For example, just to give you an idea, he abolished the slavery in Peru. Can you imagine that? He abolished the slavery. Also, he abolished the indigenous tribute, the indigenous pay tributes, first to the crown, and then they continue paying back to the presidents. So imagine that, what an abuse. He abolished that in the year 1854, and he decided to create the market that you are seeing here. Of course, not the one outside. Actually, this one here, right? So this was the market. But originally, the market looked a little bit different. So let me show you some pictures of the outside and the inside. Okay? So can you see the pictures, my friends? So you can see the exterior in the second picture, and the first picture is how inside look, like a metallic structure, more like the style of, I don't know, maybe French architecture of that time, like seems like influenced by Eiffel, maybe. But that was the style of that period. So the market, of course, had passed through lots of different events, even a fire, for example, earthquakes. But here you have a way more modern construction that even has offices on top, and the market is inside. And also, as we look in this direction, we can see lots of different products that back in the old days were offered, like 100, 200, 300 years ago, were often in Lima. For example, look at this one here. This is the anticucho. The anticucho is this sort of like shish kebabs made from beef heart, and this is what we call an Afro-Peruvian tradition. And I think I have some pictures here, like share about the vendors, the street vendors of those days. Let me share here, for example, these few pictures over here. Yes, yummy. So we have, like, for example, the man who sold the anticucho, or the lady who sold the mazamorra, right? So we have here anticuchos, delicious anticuchos, these shish kebabs, or also some of them are made from like tribes, very, very delicious. Let me show you also another product that is in the mazamorrera. The lady that is in the second picture, she's carrying mazamorra, which is made from the purple corn. Look at this, for example, buena señorita. We have here the mazamorra morada, the purple corn. This is sort of like let's say like a pudding, something like that. Very, very delicious, made from purple corn, right? Muchas gracias, señorita. And we have also this refreshment made from also the same corn, right? So we still drink, we still consume the same products that back in the 16th century, 17th century, 18th century, our ancestors prepared, which is beautiful. It means that we have a live culture in terms of gastronomy, in culinary. And that's why nowadays Peru is known internationally as a culinary destination, because we still have alive those ancient traditions. We are a country of fusion, and there is always something for everyone here in Peru. So purple corn, yes, Mary Lou, I'm so sorry I don't have a picture about the purple corn, but if you look online, you put Peruvian purple corn, you're going to find like the corn is actually purple. So, well, it's been really a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much for this, for joining this event, for coming to my tour. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you found it interesting and informative. My tours are always different. I never do like 2 events again, or, well, for now, I prefer not to, because there's so much that we can talk about Peruvian history, about Lima, that I want every day to bring something new to the table, and also for you to understand better the country, the history of the country, the history of my people, give you the opportunity of opening, like bridges to also connect your culture with my culture. That's the idea. We humans are so alike. Sometimes you can be really surprised. So, well, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot for your participation. Thanks for your tip support. It really helps me a lot, because, these are events that are completely for free, and that helps also to continue doing these events. If you wish to see the recording of this event, if you came at the end, you can jump to my YouTube channel. I will be posting later today this event there in my YouTube channel, so you can go there, see it in detail, take notes if you wish, or maybe see the parts you missed. And well, I hope to see you soon in our next event, which is going to be in few days. Actually, Marek, Saturday?
Polish,
yes, that's right.
Saturday.
We have, by the way, this is Marek, my husband, and he's Peruvian Polish. And let me invite you all to our event on Saturday that he's going to be co-hosting with me. Don't go away, Marek. Also, we are going to talk about the Polish heritage in Peru. And you know why? Because my husband is Peruvian Polish. So he is the best person to explain about the Polish immigration to Peru and why this immigration is so important. And we're going to be celebrating also a very important day for Poland, right?
Yeah, the 11th of November, the Independence Day. But the tour will be on 12th, on Saturday.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So we are waiting for you all. Hope you can come, and we'll have a lovely rest of the day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the coming days. Lima will be always here waiting for you all, your guides. And well, best to you all. Lots of love from Lima. Gracias, Eva. Thanks. I hope to see you this Saturday. Gracias, Debbie. God bless you all. God bless you, amigos. Take care. Best to you all, and see you soon. Gracias, Debbie. Ciao, ciao.